Two scripture verses for today, one from the Old Testament, one from the New Testament. First, Isaiah 40, verse 12. Reading from the Voice. Who has taken count and measured out all earth's waters in a single cupped palm, and determined heaven's expanse with an outstretched hand? Who has counted out exactly how many grains of dirt are here on earth and weighed the mountains and hills on scales? And Colossians chapter 1, verses 15 to 17. Speaking of Jesus, Paul says, "He is the exact image of the invisible God, the firstborn of creation, the eternal. It was by him that everything was created, the heavens, the earth, all things within and upon them, all things seen and unseen, thrones and dominions, spiritual powers and authorities. Every detail was crafted through his design by his own hands and for his purposes. He has always been. It is his hand that holds everything together." Our song today, "He's Got the Whole World by His Hands," is a classic song familiar to many of us. We don't know the name of the originator of this African-American spiritual, but we know the history and context. This song of faith was conceived in the heart of a man or a woman who suffered under slavery in the American South. The writer of this hymn denied their humanity, had no control over the present or future, no promise of freedom, and yet believed deeply that a loving God, the creator and sustainer, was still in charge. He's Got the Whole World in His Hands was first published in 1927 in the paper-bound hymnal Spirituals Triumphant Old and New, and it became an international pop hit in 1957. It has since been recorded by many artists, including Mahalia Jackson and our own Mennonite International Ambassador of Peace, Anthony Brown. He's got the whole world in his hands. One of my favorite places to meditate on God's greatness and God's presence is by the ocean. I love to just look out on the vastness of the ocean, extending all the way to the horizon. It puts me at ease and gives me the feeling of having unlimited space to think. At the same time, the massive scale of the ocean reminds me that God is bigger and more amazing than I can possibly comprehend. I resonate with the sentiment expressed in Isaiah 40, verse 12. Who measured out all the earth's waters in a single cupped palm? That mighty and gentle palm comes to my mind when I am in the water. I love taking a walk by the beach and wading in the water, but what I enjoy even more is putting on a vest and floating in the water. I let that cool sapphire salt water hold me up, and I surrender to the energy and the movement of the water. Somehow it is meditative to me, like being held in God's steady and sure hand. In that moment, it's incredible to think that God is aware I am there. And not just me, God knows every creature living in the vast oceans. God is aware of every ship plying the waters back and forth across this globe. And God knows every soul on board those ships. It blows my mind. How big is God? Big. What could possibly escape God's attention? Where could any of us possibly go to flee God's presence? Wherever you are right now on this earth, God is there. It is something we can count on even when we are feeling anxious, tired, or unsure. Let us remind each other and share with others across the street and around the world the tangible truth of our amazing, mighty, and loving God.